So I thought I'd ease us into new videos in the new year with a what's on my iPhone 12 Pro 2021 edition. I did this last year and I was embarrassed about how bad my phone looked. It was so cluttered and just looked a bit disgusting. But I'm going to kind of make this a bit of a yearly tradition. So every single year, the first video of the new year will be a what's on my iPhone type of video. So I have the iPhone 12 Pro and I've kind of gone not minimalistic, but I've realized that I don't use my phone as much as some people would expect someone who's a tech YouTuber to use it. So let's go through how I use my phone and what apps that I have. I'll start with what I have on my wallpaper as my home and my lock screen. So it is a wallpaper by a guy on Twitter called AR7. If you want to go check out his wallpapers, they are brilliant. So I'll put that in the description below. And what's good about this is it hides the dock. I didn't realize I didn't want to see the dock until I didn't want to see it, but you can see that when you look at that, the dock is pretty much gone, so you don't actually have to be able to see it, which is quite nice. So I like to have the same wallpaper on my home and my lock screen, and usually I'll go with something that's like this or something that is like a setting of some mountains or something like that. I just like the clean look of wallpapers like that. But we'll start with some of the apps. I like to have a couple of widgets on the home screen, and I wasn't a fan of widgets when they came with iOS 14, but now I've got them on this front screen here. So in the top left you can see that there's the calendar app. Not that much is going on at the moment, but I like to have the calendar app up there, and the weather is something that I'm obsessed with checking. So it's Manchester and it's cold, so it's always nice to know how cold. So I've got those two at the top there, and those little square ones, they're a lot better than those big chunky ones. So I'm not a big fan of the big chunky ones, but those two little small ones, big fan of. I don't use a load of social media either. So on here, I only really use two things. So I use my Twitter, which I use quite often. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, feel free. It's onepaulj_. So I have that. And I spend too much time on Twitter and for no reason at all. So I have all of that. I then have my Instagram as well. So I'm trying to use Instagram a little bit more this year. I don't have a huge amount of followers. I've got 576 followers. So if you want to go follow me on there, it's onepaulj. So have a little look. They're the two things that I check every single day when I get up. So I can spend an hour in bed just scrolling through these for no reason at all. But that's what I start the day with. Then we'll move down to the next two. YouTube, of course, a huge one. So I will spend a load of time on YouTube watching various different things as well. At the moment, I'm obsessed with just going through and watching loads of Star Wars stuff because of The Mandalorian. So I'm watching quite a lot of stuff on there. And then we have YouTube Studio. So when we go into YouTube Studio, all my stats for YouTube videos, so it tells me how many views that I've got, how old people are, you know, what videos have flopped, what have done really well. And my last video was 17 days ago. I only meant to take 2 days off, and here we are in 2021. Then we've got Munzo, which is my bank in the UK. It just lets you track all of your stuff really well. And then the Mail app is something that I use a lot. And this is for more like work. So I've got Gmail, which is there, which is like my personal email. And then I've got the Mail app, which is all about like stuff for YouTube, if people want to get hold of me or anything like that. So I have that goes through all of that there. So something that doesn't take off that much. I maybe get 1 or 2 emails a month, so nothing huge. Calendar app at the bottom and the clock. So, you know, standard stuff. And then at the top, we've got photos. So the photos app here is I do use it. I'm not a massive fan of the Photos app for whatever reason. I prefer Google Photos, and that's on the it's just easier to search and everything like that. Like, this has got better, but not a huge fan. Apple Music is my music player of choice, so I jump between Spotify all the time, but now that I've got the HomePod over there and, you know, the Mac and all of that stuff, it just makes it easier to be able to go through and just use Apple Music so you can sync it all over. And at the moment, honestly, the amount of times I've listened to Taylor Swift's Reputation album is just ridiculous. Don't judge me on music choices, please. Messenger, I only have it to keep in contact with like work groups and like football groups and stuff like that. Podcasts is another one that I listen to pretty much every single night. So there's a couple that I will listen to. I've mentioned it before on the channel that my main one that I listen to is the Rooster Teeth podcast. I don't know why I keep going back to it, but I will listen to it almost every single night before going to bed because I can't sleep without something playing in my ears. You then got the camera app, and then you've got Safari, and then the settings. So Safari, I don't use Chrome. I'm just not a fan of Chrome at all, but you can see how many, like, I've got so many tabs open, it's ridiculous here, and it's just hundreds of tabs that are open. Then at the bottom I have the dock, and that is something that I like to try and keep quite minimal, and you can see that you can't really see the dock that is at the bottom, which is nice about this wallpaper. And phone, WhatsApp, and iMessage. So iMessage I don't use a huge amount actually. Most people I try and speak to are on WhatsApp because they either don't have an iPhone or they don't, they have an Android. And actually, WhatsApp is better than iMessage. Just saying, just putting it out there. When we're done with that, we then go on to the second page, and I only have 2 pages of apps. That is it on here. So BBC Sport, so I can check how well Liverpool are doing. The Apple Watch app, and I do use my Apple Watch, but not that much anymore. So I have that there to change watch faces and stuff. This is the thing, I don't use my phone that often to watch anything that's not YouTube. So I have Apple TV, I have Netflix, but I haven't even signed in to Netflix since getting this phone. And that just shows how much I don't use the iPhone for like media and stuff like that. The second row, Amazon and eBay. So everything that I buy is usually from Amazon and eBay. I don't really buy anything that's not from those websites. So I'm on those all the time. Facebook, again, I only have it because I have to have it to keep in contact with friends and family. But if I could get rid of Facebook, I would happily get rid of Facebook forever. Files is something that I use all the time. It's iCloud storage. So I've got 2 terabytes of iCloud storage, and in here, this is where I put a load of my footage once I've recorded them for YouTube. So I go into the footage screen here, and I've got things like the iPhone 11 Pro footage from last year, the Pixel 4a, iPad Pro. So I tend to use cloud storage quite often. It is slow to upload, but it's handy just to have it all in one place, even though these files aren't named, which I need to get. I'm not very organized, that's my problem. So none of these are even named, but I kind of know what they are. And if I don't use files, then I will use Google Drive as well. So that is just like an alternative if I want to put some footage in there as well. So I pay for Google One, only 200 gigabyte on that, but I think it's only about £2 a month, so it's nothing really, so quite handy to have. And then notes, that's where I go and put any sort of bullet points for videos. Haven't made anything for this video, as you might be able to tell, but that's where I put all my notes in there for scripts and anything like that. And I've just subscribed to Apple Fitness, or it's Fitness Plus, I think it's called. You can see here, I don't exactly do many fitness things, but it's January 1st. So I feel like if I subscribe to it, then I will do some fitness stuff. But the chances of me using it, I know already, are pretty low. And then Deliveroo and Uber Eats. So I famously cannot cook a single meal. So if I ever need to get food, I will either get it from Deliveroo or Uber Eats, which costs so much money, but it's easier to buy it than it is to go out to shop and cook and prep, and I'm rubbish at cooking. So Deliveroo and Uber Eats are like my lifesavers. The next thing then is the app library. So I try and hide as many of my apps as possible. I forget that I use most of these, but I have my Philips Hue app there as well. So I need to change the color of any of the lights in the bedroom. So for example, that one at the back there, we can change it to be pretty much whatever. You can use the HomePod to ask it to do it as well, but sometimes it's just quite nice and quite easy just to use the Philips Hue app as well. There we go, that is what is on my iPhone 12 Pro in 2021, and just going through that, I've realized that I don't use the Pro version of this phone in any way. So this has made me maybe think that maybe I don't need a Pro phone anymore. But let me know in the comments below if there's anything that you want to know about any other apps that I might use. If you enjoyed the video, then why not like it, and a sub to the channel would be amazing. And until next time, see you later.